This morning, severe weather possible across southwest Florida later today. I'll show you what you need to know for the day ahead in your first alert forecast.
NBC2 is all over breaking news at 6. A child fighting for his life after a North Fort Myers accident, and a Cape Coral boat is nothing but ash.
Our neighbor came banging on the door, screamed, "Out of the boat's on fire." Well, I walked outside and the whole thing was just a bunch of cloud of flames.
We just talked to witnesses about how they tried to put out that fire.
Live, the news you count on. NBC2 News Today.
We start here at 6 a.m. with a check of your forecast. We have another wet and wild afternoon on the way. A severe weather first alert in place due to the potential for some localized flooding. Marco Island, we got hit hard with flooding yesterday. We saw some of the video here over the going back to yesterday evening, and we'll show you some more of that this morning. But the big concern here is some of that flooding potential getting into the afternoon. Now, as we start things off here on this Thursday morning, notice we do have some storms back to the northwest of us. This time yesterday, we had the storms closing in on the coast. Today, we've got our winds coming in from east to west. So all these storms working away from our coastline, and it's not going to be until after lunchtime that we see that threat for some strong thunderstorms across our area today. So for the next several hours, a mixture of sunshine and clouds. Rain chances holding right around 10%. And then after 1 and 2 o'clock, we're going to start to track some areas of rain and thunderstorms breaking out, bubbling up, and working over closer to the coast. So Lee County, Collier County again today, even Marco Island, we're going to see the chance for some heavy thunderstorms. Rain chances peaking around 70%. And I think that time frame here, that window from 3 o'clock through about 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock this evening is when we're going to see the best chance for rain and thunderstorms. Before those develop, temperatures will make it up closer to 90 degrees, and it's going to feel like we're closer to the upper 90s, even closer to 100. But the big story, of course, some of that heavy rain on the way. Here's our latest futurecast. You can see through the morning, most of the rain stays just off their coast, and then 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock into the evening hours, look where that line of storms sets up. Naples, North Naples up through Bonita Springs, sections of Lee County, and that heavy rain again could lead to some street flooding as we get into the back half of the day. We'll focus on exactly how much rain to expect today and also some new developments in the tropics to talk to you about. That's ahead at 6:15.
6:02 breaking news out of Cape Coral. A boat destroyed after bursting into flames. Take a look at this aftermath here. You can barely make out the boat's frame. NBC2's Edna Ruiz is the only reporter on top of this story for you, and she is live right now at the Rosen Park boat ramp of Southeast 15th Terrace. And you just talked to a witness. What did she say?
Well, Clay, you can't even tell it was a boat because of the damage. What's left of it is actually still floating in the water behind me, behind this caution tape right here. I want you to take a closer look from our camera above. Neighbors tell me that they woke up to high flames just a couple of boats away from theirs. Cape Coral Fire got the call around 10 last night. Firefighters were able to put out that fire before other boats caught fire, and thankfully no one was hurt. But neighbors tell me this was definitely a scary moment for them as they were trying to do whatever they could to get those flames out.
It was extremely scary, and yeah, we grabbed 3 fire extinguishers from the dock and a hose, and we tried to put it out as best we could, or at least contain it until the fire department got here.
Neighbors that we talked to tell me that the owner of this damaged boat is actually out of state right now, so he'll be coming back to take a look at this damage later today. As far as what started this fire, well, that's still under investigation. As soon as we get any updates from the fire department, you can count on NBC2 to bring those to you right here on air and on our NBC2 News app. I'm live in Cape Coral. Edna Ruiz, NBC2.
NBC2 on top of more breaking news overnight. An 8-year-old boy and a 31-year-old woman are seriously hurt after a crash in North Fort Myers. You're looking at the aftermath of a 3-car crash. It happened around 8 last night when a woman ran a red light. Pondella 41 was shut down for some hours. We spoke to a man whose son was taken to the hospital. Thankfully, he's all right, but his family is praying for the boy and woman battling for their lives.
I feel really bad for the family, you know, of the mom and the dad of that kid.
All of our first responders here, our thoughts and prayers are with him to have a quick and complete recovery.
Yeah, a dog was also severely injured in the crash, and we are working right now to confirm how the woman and the child are doing this morning.
If there's breaking news, NBC2 is where you need to be. 2 more students test positive for COVID-19 at Florida Gulf Coast University. Officials say the students live off campus, but they have been attending classes on campus. That brings the total to 33 students with the virus there. 11 employees have also tested positive since April.
As you wake up, another 202 COVID-19 related deaths in Florida. NBC2 can confirm 3 of the people lived in Collier County, 1 in Lee and 1 in Charlotte. The health department also reported 2,000 new cases in our state. Right now, Florida's positivity rate is at just under 6%. The last time our state reported a positivity rate over 10%, nearly 1 month ago on August 11th.
Right now, Lee Health is seeing a slight increase in COVID-19 patients. This morning, the hospital system is treating 86 people with the virus. That's up from the 80 patients doctors were treating earlier this week. Right now, a little less than a quarter of ICU beds are open, and 71% of ventilators are ready to go in case of a severe COVID-19 infection.
This morning, there is a new pop-up testing site in Lee County. The health department will offer free walk-up testing at the North Fort Myers Community Pool starting at 9 o'clock. There's also a news conference at noon about even more testing efforts and the importance of getting your flu shot.
Health officials say with flu season coming up, now is the time to get vaccinated. Last year, the flu killed at least 24,000 people in the U.S. And some medical experts worry that the flu and COVID-19 could be a dangerous mix.
Because if people are sick with the flu, it's going to reduce their immune system, and in theory, that can make them more prone to contracting COVID-19.
Many stores and pharmacies in our communities have already started offering this year's flu vaccine.
Right now, Naples Community Hospital is keeping COVID-19 numbers down. Doctors there are treating 32 coronavirus patients. 25% of beds in the ICU are open.
This morning, NBC2 will get brand new unemployment numbers from the government. Last week, the unemployment rate dropped down to a little more than 8% with 1.4 million jobs gained. Now, remember, that number includes people who went back to work after pandemic payoffs. Count on NBC2 to bring you those numbers later this morning.
When I heard about the $300 weekly coming in from Trump, I thought it was just smoke. I didn't expect a dime from it.
But it was not just smoke. Laid-off workers are starting to get that $300 weekly federal unemployment money. It is set to expire in 3 weeks, but the Department of Economic Opportunity says additional approvals may be granted on a week-by-week basis.
Now, while some people are getting money, others are now having to give it back. One woman tells NBC2 she got a letter asking for part of the unemployment money she received to be given back, and she's not the only one. The Department of Economic Opportunity says some people were overpaid, and officials want the money back. Experts we talk with say overpayments could be because of the department rushing.
When the CARES Act was passed back in late March, early April, the extension of federal benefits and how that was going to be done required some upgrades to technology. As a result, people shouldn't have gotten any money.
So if you were overpaid or you got a letter from the DEO, check our news app for how to return that money.
Today is the last day for nonprofits to apply for CARES Act funding in Charlotte County. Applications must be complete by 5 this evening. Right now, nonprofits struggling because of the pandemic are eligible for thousands of dollars in grants.
6:08, I'm Stacey Deffenbaugh, continuing to monitor breaking news coming in from Sanford, Florida. If you're just waking up, there's been a huge explosion there. I want to show you some of the new pictures and videos that people are posting. Here's one of them. Look at that, a huge flame shooting at least 100 feet into the air. Here's another one here. About 800 people were evacuated in the last hour or so. In the last few minutes, I've just confirmed they're allowing people to return back home after deeming the area to be safe. It's a story I'll keep tracking for you right here in the NBC2 Alert Center.
Gives me goosebumps there.
Yes!
It is the sound we cannot wait to hear tonight. The terrible towel is back,
yes,
and the NFL is back.
Yes, only on NBC2, sporting my Houston Texans colors today, though, because they're taking on the reigning Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City is hosting, and there's a Southwest Florida tie. South Fort Myers alum and wide receiver Sammy Watkins is playing tonight. You can watch all the action right here on NBC2. Live coverage begins at 7. Kickoff is set for 8:20.
All right, enjoy the football. It's a busy morning right here on NBC2 News Today. Coming up at 6:13.
Our call is that we will end up with a landfall somewhere around the 10,000 islands, Goodland, Marco Island, Naples, all on the table here.
If you remember, our meteorologist made the call and Hurricane Irma hit hard just 3 years after flooding devastated parts of our community. You'll see how some people are still recovering.
And we're going to talk to Robert coming up a little bit later this hour as well. And right now, Marco Island, we're clear and dry. It was quite a day for you yesterday with some of that flooding. We'll see if there's more flooding potential across Collier, Lee, and Charlotte County. I've got your county by county futurecast ahead at 6:15.
Whipping rain and wind.
Flooding for miles.
And devastating destruction.
It's very sad. The whole community, everybody lost everything. Oh, I'm sorry.
Irma spared no community. The Category 3 hurricane ripping right through our neighborhoods. Many of you saying goodbye to your homes, filled with a lifetime's worth of memories.
Today marks 3 years, but many of us will never forget Irma's wrath.
I just thought about saving my life.
I know so much of that video is really hard for you to still look at. And this morning, we are at the statistical peak of the hurricane season, and it's also 3 years after Hurricane Irma.
I'm sure many of you remember it. Certainly tough to forget. Irma made landfall in Marco Island and just destroyed parts of our community. This morning, NBC2's Alex Howard is live on Quinn Street in Bonita Springs. Alex, that area saw so much flooding after Irma.
It really did, Lisa. This oar right here is about as tall as the water was deep here in the Quinn Street neighborhood, with the houses behind me still bearing the scars of that storm that hit 3 years ago to the day today. Now, yesterday I managed to speak with the mayor of Bonita Springs, Peter Simmons, who told me he was through this entire neighborhood, and he compared Quinn Street, the neighborhood here, to a bathtub because of how low and how close to the Imperial River it really is, making the risks for flooding that much worse. But in the weeks leading up to Irma, he mentioned the river was only half a mile away, was already at semi-flooding levels. Of course, it had disastrous results when Irma finally came. Now, this whole neighborhood was underwater for about a month, and he had to get around by boat. And a woman I spoke to yesterday told me she could not return to her home for 2 months.
But you never expect to be out of your house for the long time. You know, for 2 months is too long.
99% you saw the good in people, and you saw them give back, reach deep, and help the community and help in a time of need.
And while right now there's no hurricane headed for Bonita Springs, the Imperial River still poses a major flooding threat when we do get excessive amounts of rain later on this morning. I'll show you what the water levels are looking like there right now. Live in Bonita Springs, Alex Howard, NBC2.
And I know Hurricane Irma is not a moment that a lot of us want to relive, but going back, just looking at the history of the storm and how it started out as one of those tropical waves that rolled off the coast of Africa, one of those Cape Verde storms. It quickly developed into a tropical storm on August 30th. That's when it was first named Irma. It developed into a hurricane the very next day, went across the entire Atlantic, and then made landfall over the small island of Barbuda as a Category 5 hurricane. Winds up to 180 miles per hour. This is, of course, we were really keeping a close eye to see what Irma would do. This was a critical point with the storm's life. As it scraped along the north shore of Cuba, this little interaction with land caused it to weaken back into a Category 3 hurricane from a Category 5, and then it took that turn to the north, crossing over Cudjoe Key, and then making landfall Marco Island, 3:35 that Sunday afternoon on the 10th of September with winds at 115 miles per hour. So it did weaken into a Category 3 storm by the time it moved into southwest Florida, and you can see the track. One of the biggest impacts we saw, some of that freshwater flooding, as much as 10 to 15 inches of flooding rain caused the Imperial River to flood over Bonita Springs, and definitely a day we will not forget anytime soon here in southwest Florida. Let's take a closer look at the tropics right now and see what we have developing. And today, September 10th, also happens to be the climatological peak of the hurricane season. We know about Paulette and Renee, but I want to talk to you for a second about a new area developing or at least a new area of thunderstorms just off of Florida's east coast right now. This is not at all very well organized. You can see just a cluster of clouds and rain, but this is a new area on the map. The National Hurricane Center also watching this as it moves west. Don't think we're going to see any development here with this over the next couple days. The Hurricane Center gives it a 20% chance to develop over the next 5 days, but that's after it crosses South Florida and moves into the Gulf of Mexico. So odds looking pretty low at this point. What kind of impacts would we see? This is just going to help to keep this tropical moisture around over the last that we've had around over the last several days, and that will continue into Saturday and Sunday. We'll continue to update you on this, let you know if anything changes. And as we look at the tropics futurecast, there's that very weak disturbance right there. Notice how we see an uptick in moisture heading into tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. Already today, we've got a lot of tropical moisture around, and then by late Saturday into Sunday, it moves into the Gulf of Mexico. That particular model does not develop any tropical systems close to South Florida as we get into the weekend. Right now, the NBC2 First Alert Live Doppler radar, a lot going on to the east of us, to the west of us. If you're along the coast of Lee County and look back to the northwest, you might notice some lightning flashes. We have about 5 lightning strikes in the last 15 minutes. That's all well offshore and moving farther away from our coastline. So we're going to see these storms rolling deeper into the Gulf of Mexico. We'll be watching to the east today for our thunderstorms developing. Marco Island in particular, yesterday was a long day with some of that street flooding. And again, we're going to see that potential for some thunderstorms, and some of that will produce heavy rain from Marco Island along the 10,000 Islands up closer to Naples. And we're talking around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock this afternoon is when the rain will start and will continue through this afternoon and this evening. Across Collier County, it looks like things will start to settle down after about 7 to 8 o'clock tonight. Lee County, also Cape Coral, Fort Myers, Lehigh Acres, really good chance of rain and thunderstorms today with that overload of tropical moisture. But nothing's going to happen really until after lunchtime today. And you can see the radar likely being lit up closer to 4:30, 5 o'clock today. Heavy rain along the Caloosahatchee, McGregor Boulevard possible. We saw some of that flooding a couple days ago. Gateway, Lehigh Acres, everything rolling out closer to the coast. 5:30, 6 o'clock as you're heading home from work. Along I-75 or Highway 41, good chance you're going to have those windshield wipers going here as we track numerous downpours and thunderstorms across parts of Lee County, which will fade away closer to 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock tonight. Also, Charlotte, DeSoto County, good chance for thunderstorms. Again, the timing very much the same, around 3 o'clock, 3:30 this afternoon as everything builds from east to west. Some heavy storms around Pirate Harbor, Punta Gorda, and Port Charlotte. We'll be sure to keep a close eye on things here on the NBC2 First Alert Live Doppler radar as we head into the afternoon. One thing I want you to see here as we look at our futurecast rainfall, notice the pockets of the yellow. Some of those brighter colors that are popping up, that's where we could see as much as 2 to 3, even closer to 4 inches of rain like yesterday. So it's in these little pockets where we could see some localized street flooding, especially in the areas that are a little bit more vulnerable with poor drainage. As we look at the next 7 days, we'll continue with numerous scattered showers and thunderstorms Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The good news is it's not going to be an all-day washout. Most of the day here, at least most of the morning hours into the weekend, will be quiet, and the storms will be focused in the afternoon and evening. Next week, kind of back to normal, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with highs in the lower 90s. We're going to focus more on the tropics ahead in the next half hour at 6:45.
Traffic on NBC2 is sponsored by StormSmart, reducing the impact of storms and energy costs while making a positive impact in our community.
Good Thursday morning. If you're heading out the door right now, usually take 6 Mile Cypress and a US 41. Not a lot getting in your way this morning, so no need to rush out the door. Now let's switch it over to your maps because we do have a disabled vehicle here in Cape Coral. This is right along Pine Island Road, so if you are heading that way, just keep in mind and drive with caution. Now our Cape Coral bridge is looking nice and clear. We're not seeing any slowdowns at the moment. That's your NBC2 traffic alert.
6:20. Good news this morning for New York City restaurants. The governor giving the green light for them to reopen indoors by the end of the month. A lot of people talking about this on social media. I want to show you a new picture here. This is what it's looked like for many of them for months. Empty tables, dark dining rooms. September 30th, that's going to change. 25% capacity allowed inside. People will have their temperatures checked at the door when they arrive. One person in the party will have to leave their contact information for tracing if that's necessary. No bar service. You have to get your alcohol through the server. You have to wear a mask when you walk in, and tables must be 6 feet apart. Now, this news coming as hundreds of New York City restaurants have filed a $2 billion lawsuit against Governor Cuomo and Mayor de Blasio. Lisa?
Thanks, Stacey. Breaking news right now as you're waking up. At least 7 people are dead as wildfires continue to rip across the West Coast. We'll show you the brand new apocalyptic images this morning.
Appalling, beyond, I can't even comprehend.
I don't know, maybe something makes me want to probably make them get rid of the app.
Do you know about this? Appalling and disturbing. A warning parents need to see about a disturbing TikTok video already seen by millions.
Breaking news right now at 6:25. We want to show you the images that everyone is talking about this morning. Yeah, the skies over major cities out west just tinted that vibrant orange as wildfires continue to rage in several states. These pictures are out of San Francisco. A lot of people are calling them apocalyptic. Nearly 200 fires are burning across 9 states right now.
And that video that Lisa just talked about was yesterday, that orange sky. I want to give you a live look at what it looks like right now. INET 4, you can see that orange haze gone right now as we look live over the city of San Francisco. But those pictures certainly eerie yesterday to see that orange sky over much of San Francisco. I'll keep tracking breaking news right here in the NBC2 Alert Center.
If you watch dancing videos, you'll see dancing videos.
I know a parent of teens myself. This got my attention, but you could also see something much more disturbing. An extremely graphic video of a man killing himself is making the rounds on TikTok. The video showing the man shooting himself in the head was first streamed on Facebook Live. Well, now the video is on TikTok. TikTok is working, they say, to remove the video, banning accounts that repost it.
I was just thankful that he was still alive, that somebody didn't get out of the car and shoot him.
Road rage taking a violent turn at 6:34. You need to hear just how wild one man got as a Cape Coral family demands justice this morning.
A teen left to die and a driver behind bars. This morning, the victim's family responds to the arrest.
A lot of tropical moisture over South Florida today. That means get ready for another round of rain and rumbles with some flooding possible. I'll show you exactly what to expect and when the heaviest rain will arrive in your first alert forecast.
Traffic on NBC2 is sponsored by StormSmart, reducing the impact of storms and energy costs while making a positive impact in our community.
If you're in Lehigh Acres, I just got off the phone with deputies who tell me they are heading to the scene of a crash along Sunshine Boulevard, and I'm working to find out if there's any roadblocks or injuries at the moment. That's your NBC2 Traffic Alert.
Live, the news you count on. NBC2 News Today.
A waterspout followed by 6 inches of rain turned roads on Marco Island basically into rivers Wednesday. Look at this. That rain just kept coming down. And as you wake up, a severe weather first alert is in effect for today. Thanks for watching NBC2 News Today. It is 6:30. I'm Lisa Spooner.
And I'm Clay Miller. Good morning. We want to get straight to meteorologist Jason Dunning. Jason, we've seen rain at any time this week. What's the timing of today's rain, and could we see some potential flooding again?
The potential is there, yes, for some flooding. Maybe not quite as bad as what we saw yesterday in Marco Island, but we're going to see some spots that pick up as much as 3 to 4 inches of rain, and it's all going to happen, at least most of it, right there along the coast. So Marco Island again today, the chance for some thunderstorms in Naples up through Cape Coral and Charlotte County. As far as the timing is concerned, yesterday we had some rain in the morning. Don't think we're going to see much in the way of rain here as we start the day. Now, you can see there's some rain out there, but offshore, along with some lightning strikes, that's all working away from our coastline. We're going to be watching down to the south and east today. Notice over southeast Florida, already rain developing closer to Miami up through Fort Lauderdale. And as the sun rises here and we heat up the atmosphere, that's going to create more areas of scattered rain and thunderstorms, mainly after lunchtime today. So the morning hours looking pretty quiet. Now I want to show you this brand new futurecast as we go through the day. Now this wants to pick up on the potential for some rain in the morning, but again, I don't think we're going to see a whole lot here developing right along the coast. Most of it will be offshore. What about later today? Main window of opportunity we're talking about starting around 2 to 3 o'clock through 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and look where the heaviest band of rain sets up, right there along the more highly populated areas. I-75 for that evening commute today. Good chance you're going to run into some rain closer to 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock. So we're talking about from Naples up through Bonita Springs, Estero, Cape Coral, and up into Charlotte County. And some of these storms will be slow moving, and consider the fact that we've seen a lot of rain for some of us over the last few days, some of us as much as 4 to 5 inches of rainfall. So the ground's pretty soggy rocky and saturated. It's not going to take much to lead to some localized flooding. So that's really the main threat we're going to be focusing on today. Yesterday, we saw that waterspout off the coast of Marco Island. I think that's less likely today. Never rule out completely the chance for an isolated tornado, but those will be on the lower end, the wind and the tornado threat. And we're going to see some lightning popping across southwest Florida, but that's pretty typical really any day in the late summer here. So we're pretty much used to that. Here's what to expect over the next 12 hours. Temperatures down into the upper 70s. Pretty warm and very humid start. We're going to end up around 90 degrees by 2 o'clock. So quiet, dry conditions through the morning with some sunshine mixing in, and those heavy rains and thunderstorms coming closer to 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock and through the afternoon. Ahead in your first alert forecast, we're going to focus on the tropics. Many areas to watch here on this peak day of hurricane season. That's ahead in your first alert forecast.
And with this unsettled weather pattern the next few days, plus, as Jason just mentioned, the peak of hurricane season here, if you don't have it already, you really need to get the NBC2 weather app. You'll be able to get weather alerts in Southwest Florida's only live Doppler radar right in the palm of your hands. Just go search NBC2WX in the App Store or Google Play.
Traffic on NBC2 is sponsored by StormSmart, reducing the impact of storms and energy costs while making a positive impact in our community.
Traffic volume is picking up as people head out the door to go to work or drop off your kids at school. We're starting to see some slowdowns along Colonial, Metro Parkway, as well as Daniels. But US 41, I-75, and our Cape Coral Bridge is looking nice and clear. Now, we do have that crash in Lehigh Acres along Sunshine Boulevard. Now, if you want to avoid this, you can always take Alabama Road into State Road 82. That's your NBC2 traffic alert.
6:33 now. Breaking news on NBC2. Our first look at the new mugshot for the man accused of leaving a teen to die. Troopers say Juan Pablo Giron hit a 14-year-old with his truck on US 41 and Southwest Boulevard in Collier County and then took off. It's been a week, and this morning, James Lee Milland is still in the hospital pulling for this guy. NBC2's Nicolette Perdomo is live where that crash happened. Nicolette, James Lee's father spoke with us. How's he doing?
Well, the best part in all of this, Clay, is that Milan's family tells us he will make a full recovery. But police spending almost a week searching for the driver who hit the 14-year-old, then left the scene here off of US 41 and Southwest Boulevard. Police trying to pinpoint exactly who owned the black Ford F-150. Now, police believe Juan Pablo Alvizures Giron was behind the wheel when James Lee was struck while on his way to school last week. We did some digging, and it turns out back in 2013, Giron Alvizures was arrested for drunk driving after hitting a mailbox and leaving the scene. Now, 7 years later, he's behind bars again. The situation worse with the young boy in the hospital. Milan's father says they're all relieved and at peace now that the driver has been found, but know they have a long road to recovery ahead.
I'm happy that they caught the man that hit my son. This man hit my child and left him to die, as if he was looking for him to kill him. He committed a criminal act.
According to the jail site, Alvizures Giron has bonded out, but we're working to find out more details. Here on NBC2, we'll be the first to let you know. I'm live in Collier County. Nicolette Perdomo, NBC2.
From your Cape Coral News team at 6:35, road rage escalates into one man purposely driving straight into another. 2 months later, the family is still looking for justice. Police say it happened exactly 2 months ago today at the busy Pine Island Road and Santa Barbara intersection. Two men got angry at each other at the stoplight. One of the men actually got out and started hitting the other's car. Well, then the other guy got out of his car. That's when chaos and violence broke out.
So my brother went over the vehicle. And ended up in the hospital with broken ribs, broken pelvis, and he's still not good.
That's the victim's sister. She says they are offering a $1,000 reward to anyone who can help them find the man who hit her brother. So if you have any information, call Cape Coral Police.
6:36 happening today. The president heads to Michigan. Let's look live at the White House. Sat 26. This feed just changed a few minutes ago. President Trump expected in Saginaw County around 7 o'clock tonight, a key area in that battleground state. The president winning Saginaw by 1 point in 2016. The rally tonight at a small airport where people have been lining up since yesterday. About 5,000 people expected tonight for that. Joe Biden, meantime, campaigned in that all-important state of Michigan. yesterday. I'll keep tracking breaking news and monitoring social media from the NBC2 Alert Center.
6:37, tonight is the night a lot of us have been waiting for, but it will definitely look a lot different. The changes on the field ahead of the NFL kickoff right here on NBC2, right after the break.
I go to sports to get away from politics, and now my sports are full of politics.
Plus, one Southwest Florida tradition for many of you not on the table this NFL season. You'll hear why at 6:38.
And taking a look at today's Futurecast here on NBC2 News Today. You can see where that rain is building. Jason's going to let you know when it will get into your neighborhood today in his first alert forecast. Stay with us. If you haven't heard by now, it is a big night on NBC2 with football back in action. The Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Houston Texans in the NFL kickoff. But things will be looking a lot different on the field this year. Let's run through some of those changes. First up is testing here. Players and staff are tested every single day except game days. Now, if someone tests positive, you won't see them on the field for at least 10 days. Next up is fans, okay? Fans, most in NFL stadiums will be empty this season with the exception of 6. Teams including the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Miami Dolphins, are all allowing fans at a reduced capacity. Finally, we're talking masks here. You'll see a lot of them watching from home. All league personnel, including players, have to mask up while traveling. Now, players are not required to wear the masks on the sidelines, but all referees will be wearing them.
I mean, a lot of us, we just can't wait to see that first NFL season kickoff tonight. But not everyone in Punta Gorda is going to be able to catch all the games at their favorite local restaurant and bar. Leroy's Southern Kitchen decided not to pay to see all the games through NFL Sunday Ticket. One of the owner's reasons is that the game is getting too political. This year, the NFL will play Lift Every Voice. It's a song known as the Black National Anthem, and it's going to be before each Week 1 game. Some teams and players have also said they will kneel for the national anthem.
I submerge myself in politics, in the news, so I know try to know what's going on. And then my escape is to sit here on a Sunday afternoon when I'm done and hang out with some buds, watch some football, and drink a beer with my customers.
Leroy's owner, Lee Richardson, says DirecTV also charges businesses who want to air all Sunday Ticket games by the number of TVs they have and their seating capacity. And that combo would have cost him more than $9,800.
6:42, we've got a lot going on in the tropics this morning, and rightfully so. Today is this statistical peak of hurricane season. I knew I had to practice that. But Jason, we still have a long journey, though, to go on the other side of this hill. It's like flattening the curve here. We still got to come down.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So think of this as the midway point. All right. So this is kind of the halfway point into the season. And really, September 10th, there's nothing magical about this day. What they do is take the last 100 years, and what day do we typically see the most activity in the Atlantic? It falls on September 10th, which some big days for us. Yeah. We had Donna back in 1960. Of course, we can't forget 3 years ago, 2017. Irma made landfall 2017 on this day. And yesterday I got a chance to sit down with meteorologist Robert Van Winkle to kind of reflect after 3 years since Irma made landfall. Here's what Robert had to say.
You have to be ready for the worst case scenario, and you have to be ready for the possibility that it could be really, really bad. We were fortunate that Irma went up over the land instead of out into the Gulf of Mexico, but it was only about a 30 to 40 mile difference, and it made a world of difference.
Yeah, miles matter when it comes to tropical systems, as Robert said. And as we look at the tropics right now across the Atlantic, there's a lot to kind of take in here. We're kind of not really focused so much on Paulette and Renee. I know those are the two named storms that we have right now. Both of those are tropical storms. But right now it appears those are going to stay out over the water, not affecting the U.S. mainland. The area in red, that's really the next thing to watch. Now, keep in mind, it's about 4,000 miles away. We've been telling you about it for the last couple of days. It's been over Africa, and just now this morning, emerging over the water. So I think there's a good chance over the next couple days this could be the next named storm. The next name on the list is Sally. We only have 4 names left on the list this season before we get to the Greek alphabet. And you'll notice right behind that, there's another big cluster of thunderstorms, that one with a 30% chance to develop. So both of these will continue to move west over the next 5 days. So this is the main development zone, along with the odds of development for that first tropical wave in red. Again, a 90% chance to develop. The reason why we're focused on this one more so than Renee and Paulette is because of the location. It's at a lower latitude. Anytime we have a storm coming off the coast of Africa or trying to form into a storm, if it stays farther south and has potential to continue farther south across the Atlantic, there's still a possibility it can turn north. We're going to talk more about that as we look at a brand new futurecast ahead in just a moment. There's Paulette, there's Renee, we know about those. Those are mainly going to stay over the Atlantic. There's a chance Paulette could affect Bermuda as we head into early next week as a formidable hurricane, Category 1 storm, but there's still a lot of uncertainties with that. We'll keep you updated and let you know if anything changes. Off of Florida's east coast, now this is new. As of last night, we're watching an area of disturbed weather, a weak area of low pressure, a 20% chance to develop over the next 5 days. And it is floating in our direction, but I think if it does develop, and right now, again, that's a low chance, that would not happen until it makes it into the Gulf of Mexico to the west of us. So let's put all this together. We'll look across the tropics of the futurecast through the next several days. There's Paulette, there's Renee. Hey, here's the main one we're watching, though, right through here, moving across the Atlantic. And this futurecast indicates that we could be looking at a developing system or maybe a storm that's already formed. Sally, perhaps, closing in on the outer Caribbean islands, moving toward the Caribbean by early next week, Tuesday into Wednesday. So that's still far away from us. We have a lot of time to track it. We will certainly keep you updated here in the NBC2 First Alert Hurricane Tracking Center. This morning, we've got storms offshore. They're going to stay offshore for now, but we're going to see new areas of rain and thunderstorms developing from the mid to late afternoon. I'm thinking 1, 2, 3 o'clock is when the rain's going to start developing, and the prime time for rain and thunderstorms closer to 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, because a lot of you are coming home from work, and there will be some really heavy downpours, and that potential is there again today for some localized flooding. There will be a few spots. You could see as much as 2, 3, even closer to 4 inches of rainfall. It's rinse and repeat on Friday with afternoon and evening storms. Rain chances staying close to 70% all the way through Sunday and then dropping a little bit by early next week. That's your NBC2 First Alert forecast.
Time now, 6:46 on your Thursday. We have a lot to get to before you head out the door.
As Jason just mentioned, today does mark 3 years since Hurricane Irma rocked our community. Some of us are still recovering.
We had to move, get out of our house. We didn't think about staying.
In just 5 minutes, how one of the hardest hit communities is getting ready for the next one.
Plus, NBC2 News Today is where you need to be for breaking news. We know a child is fighting for his life this morning. What we know about that North Fort Myers crash that sent the young man to the hospital.
And even more breaking news, you're looking live at what is left after a massive boat fire in Cape Coral. In our final 10 minutes before the Today Show, you'll hear how witnesses tried to put it out. $6:49, breaking news just into our newsroom. We are able to confirm Heights Elementary School has its first coronavirus case. Parents received an email last night from the Lee County School District. A crew was sent to the school to sanitize the campus. This case has not yet been posted to the district's COVID-19 case tracking page, however.
Breaking news on NBC2. We want to show you the images that everyone's talking about this morning. Look at this. The skies over major cities out west are tinted orange as wildfires continue to rage in 3 states there. Look at these pictures out of Oakland, California there that have a lot of people calling it apocalyptic. Nearly 200 fires are now burning across 9 states right now. Millions of acres have burned. The National Weather Service says air quality in some areas could be hazardous.
As you are waking up, a new report says the number of teenagers vaping in the U.S. has dropped dramatically this year, especially middle schoolers. Experts think last year's outbreak of vaping-related illnesses and deaths may have scared off some kids. Higher age limits and flavor bans also played a role. But even as teen use declined, the report shows a big bump in use of disposable e-cigarettes.
This morning, NBC2 will get brand new unemployment numbers from the government. Last week, the unemployment rate dropped to just over 8% with 1.4 million jobs gained. Remember, that number includes people who went back to work after pandemic payoffs.
When I heard about the $300 weekly coming in from Trump, I thought it was just smoke. I didn't expect a dime from it.
But now laid off workers are starting to get that money. Those $300 weekly federal unemployment payments are starting to go out. The program is set to expire in 3 weeks. The Department of Economic Opportunity says additional approvals may be granted on a week-by-week basis depending on funding availability.
It is a different story for some people who have to give money back to the DEO. A woman told NBC2 she got a letter telling her to return part of her unemployment money. The Department of Economic Opportunity says some people were overpaid and officials want the money back. Experts we talked with say overpayments could be because of the department rushing.
When the CARES Act was passed back in late March, early April, the extension of federal benefits and how that was going to be done required some upgrades to technology. As a result, people shouldn't have gotten any money.
Now, if you were overpaid or got a letter from the DEO, check on our news app for how you can return it.
The deadline is here to apply for CARES Act funding in Charlotte County. Applications must be finished by 5 p.m. today. Right now, nonprofits that have struggled because of the pandemic are eligible for thousands of dollars in grants.
We have a severe weather first alert in place for all of us today due to the potential for some heavy rain and flooding. The good news is we're not going to see a lot of violent thunderstorms, but it's that rainfall that could add up very quickly heading into the afternoon. As far as the timing is concerned, we're talking about 3 o'clock through 6 o'clock tonight through the evening hours, and look where the storm's set up right there over the more populated areas right along I-75 and Highway 41 from Naples, Marco Island. Again, the chance for some heavy rain, and this will expand all the way up into Charlotte County. We'll have another look at your forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Jason, we'll see you then. Talk about severe weather. An image many of you will never forget here. Bonita Springs underwater. Hurricane Irma caused devastating flooding to our community. Some people living near the Imperial River 3 years ago are preparing for what's next. NBC2's Alex Howard is live in Quinn Street this morning, right near the water. Alex, how are they getting ready for the rest of hurricane season?
Good morning, Clay. We're actually here by Old US 40 Run, right on the bank of the Imperial River. It cuts right through the center of the city of Bonita Springs and goes through that Quinn Street neighborhood as well. And when Irma struck, its bank swelled well over its average height of 8.5 feet, flooding the surrounding communities. Now, at one point, some people were using canoes to return to their homes, and it even made some unlivable. And days after Irma, the river reached a height of 12.5 feet. Just this year, Bonita Springs was approved for $11 million in a federal grant to make improvements to prevent flooding. I want you to check this out right now. In just the past few days, the river has already risen from 4 to a little over 6 feet. That just goes to show how quickly things can change here, and that rain will impact our community in the coming days. And always here on NBC2, we'll keep you updated on developing weather-related stories. Live in Bonita Springs, Alex Howard, NBC2.
Right now in the NBC2 Alert Center, a live look at Arrowhead Stadium. INET 5 NFL football kicking off tonight. It's the Chiefs and the Texans playing right here tonight. You can watch it right here on NBC2. Chiefs allowing around 16,000 fans into the stadium tonight. The fans have to wear masks. They've divided the stadium into zones, and people have to stay in their zone. Tailgating is allowed, but guests have to stay at their own vehicle, and they must maintain proper social distancing.
Traffic on NBC2 is sponsored by StormSmart, reducing the impact of storms and energy costs while making a positive impact in our community.
If you're heading out the door, take a look at your screen right now. Cars are crawling by here on I-75 in Collier County. This is because of a traffic light that's not working, and this is right off the Immokalee Road exit. Now, if you want to avoid this bumper-to-bumper traffic, get off Bonita Beach Road and take a US 41. That's your NBC2 traffic alert.
6:55, more breaking news right now. 2 more students test positive for COVID-19 at Florida Gulf Coast University. We've learned those students don't live on campus, but they have been attending classes on campus. So that brings the total to 33 students with the virus. 11 employees have also tested positive since April.
Breaking news back here in the NBC2 Alert Center, a massive fire in Beirut. Some new video just posted in the last few minutes. I'm going to hit play and look at that thick smoke there coming from this area. It's a port that's on fire here that people are posting new pictures of. Not known what is the cause of this massive fire right now, but brand new video coming in from Beirut.
6:56, another 202 COVID-19 related deaths are reported in Florida. NBC2 can confirm that 3 of those people lived in Collier County, 1 in Lee, and 1 in Charlotte. The health department also reported 2,000 new cases in our state. Right now, Florida's positivity rate is at just under 6%. The last time our state reported a positivity rate over the 10% number, nearly 1 month ago on August 11th.
This morning, there is a slight increase in coronavirus patients being treated at Lee Health. This morning, the number is 86. That is up from the 80 patients doctors were treating earlier this week. Right now, a little less than a quarter of ICU beds are open and 71% of ventilators are ready to go just in case of a severe COVID-19 infection. Also breaking on NBC2, an accused hit-and-run driver is out of jail. We just got this new mugshot for Juan Pablo Alvisores Giron. Troopers say he hit a 14-year-old on US 41 and Southwest Boulevard in Collier County and then took off. This morning, James Lee Milland is still in the hospital 1 week after the crash. His family says he will make a full recovery.
And breaking news as you wake up, a 7-year-old boy and a 31-year-old woman are seriously hurt after this bad crash in North Fort Myers. Hate to see that shot there. You're looking at the aftermath of a 3-car crash that happened around 8 last night when troopers say a woman ran a red light. Pondella 41 was shut down for hours. And we spoke to a man whose son was one of the drivers taken to the hospital. Thankfully, he's okay, but his family is praying for the boy and the woman battling for their lives.
6:57, and you will only see this breaking news on NBC2. A boat catches fire and is just destroyed. This was in Cape Coral overnight at the Rosen Park boat ramp, and NBC2's Edna Ruiz is live there now. Edna, you spoke with neighbors. They were actually trying to put out the flames with garden hoses.
Lisa, they were trying to make sure that those flames didn't spread to the other boats here along the dock. You can see that they were successful in that. But if you take a look at that boat that caught fire, well, you can't even tell it was a boat at this point. This is what's really left of it. As you can see, it's still floating in the water. The other boats along the marina were not damaged, but parts of the dock actually were. Cape Coral firefighters first got the call around 10 last night. They put out those flames as fast as they could, and thankfully no one was inside of that boat that caught fire and no one else got hurt either. So people that I talked to that were out here last night tell me that this was definitely a very scary moment for them.
Our neighbor came banging on the door, screamed, "Adam's boat's on fire." Well, I walked outside and the whole thing was just a mushroom cloud of flames.
Neighbors tell me the owner of this boat was actually out of state, so he wasn't here during that fire. At this moment, it is unclear what exactly caused this fire. We will be speaking with Cape Coral firefighters throughout the day and bringing you the latest updates as soon as we get them. I'm live in Cape Coral. Edna Ruiz, NBC2.
We have a severe weather first alert in place today with storms returning to the area this morning on the NBC2 First Alert Live Doppler radar. We're quiet and dry. We've got some rain around us to the east and then back off to the west, some thunderstorms in the Gulf. That's moving away from us. The 3 things to note today with our severe weather threat, of course, storms return. That'll be mainly starting around 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock through this afternoon and this evening. Flooding, like yesterday, will be the primary concern. We saw some of the video for Marco Island, water all the way up to the middle, almost to the top of mailboxes. They saw about 4 to 5 inches yesterday, and that potential is there for some pockets, at least some localized areas, as much as 3 to 5 inches of rainfall. And considering how much rain we've seen over the last few days, that could easily lead to some localized flooding. So that's the main concern. Prime time for rain through the middle to late part of the afternoon. Let's get it to New York now and the Today Show. Have a great day.